Oh, we got someone else. Nice. Who else came in?
Yeah, I got T-Skin in here too.
Awesome. Love that. All right. Yeah, cool. Yeah, 4 is perfect because now we got a full squad so that we can. I've done this with a couple people and it's a little bit janky because you can't get a full formation and you know. Mhm. Yeah. Right, right.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's up, man? T-Skin
Not
in the
much.
house.
Hey, how you doing, fellas?
What's up, man?
Not much, not much.
All right, so this is Jack Hammer talking, and I just kind of started. Basically, we're going to go through a few things. Uh, the purpose of this is obviously to have you guys run through BCT, but also have the ability for Apollo to run BCT as well, since I'm pretty busy IRL usually. So um, we're going to go through patrol formation, fields of fire, how to engage an enemy, how to fire and maneuver, and we'll talk about crossing main supply routes and secondary supply routes or roads or whatever you want to call them safely as a team. And if we have a little bit of time, we'll do some key CQB as well. My background is United States Army. I was a 12 Bravo combat engineer, paratrooper, served 6 years. Nothing amazing. It was during peacetime. 89 to 96. So I'm an old dude, and it's sort of, been around guns and military ever since then. So first thing we're going to do is kind of talk about patrol formations. In Apollo, if T-Skin doesn't have this document I wrote, you can send it to him later. Okay. Um, and this document that you're going to get is basically covers all the stuff we're going to cover, but it goes more in depth on CQB. It goes also more in depth on different types of formations. There's a diamond formation and wedge formation, strong side left, strong side right formations, different things like that. But we're just going to go through sort of the basic concepts of this so that everybody's kind of working off the same foundation. So what we're going to be doing right now is talking about spacing between operators in a column formation when you're walking, or in other words, patrolling from your insertion zone to your objective, okay? So if we all just, inserted and we start moving out, in a column formation, your team leader is typically your second or your third, depending on how the team leader wants to run the team, is typically your second or third in a column formation. They're never going to be the point man because you don't want him to get shot first, and you also want him to be able to kind of see the entire team from his formation, from where he is in the formation, to keep an eye on everybody and kind of understand what's happening in the battlefield so that when things occur, he has the ability to sort of, kind of take a bigger picture view and kind of understand what's the next move. Do we need to, break contact? Do we need to, push? Do we need to, flank right or left? Things like that. Okay. For this particular training exercise, obviously I'm the instructor, but I also be the point man just to kind of make things a little bit easier, so I don't have to, kind of tell the point man what to do. I can just kind of do it, and then it'll be more efficient. So when you're moving in a patrol formation, no matter what kind of formation you're in, the spacing between your closest teammate is going to be about 8 meters, call it. Okay. So if I go up here, you guys just stay put. If I go up here and I look back, me and Zilla right now, we're like 10 meters apart. Okay. So that's pretty good. And it's going to kind of depend on if it's, dense forest or if it's an open field, right? Because you don't want to lose contact. You don't want to lose sight of other teammates because you're going to have your friendly tags off. So it's going to be, it's going to be a little bit harder to spot. So you kind of want to make sure that you have visual contact, but you don't want to be so close that if someone, lobs a grenade, it's going to kill the whole team. Does that make sense? All right, so I'm gonna move out. I'll be 1, and Godzilla, you be number 2, okay? And Apollo, you be number 3, and then I'm just writing this down. And then T-Skin, you be rear security. You're gonna be number 4. All right.
Okay.
So as soon as I move out, we're gonna practice just kind of staying, 10 meters apart. All right. And when I move, I'm gonna tell you guys what's going on. Like when I say 1 moving, then everyone's gonna hear that. Everyone knows that I'm starting to move, right? So no one gets left behind. As soon as I start moving, 2's gonna see it. He's going to see me about 10 meters out, 8 meters out. He's going to say 2 moving, okay? So that's going to, obviously have Apollo kind of perk his ears up and say, all right, I got to see where, I got to see where number 2's going. And if number 2's about 10 meters out, he's going to start going, and he's going to say, all right, 3's moving. 4, you're going to see what's going on, and you're going to see, okay, as soon as he's 10 meters out, it's 4 moving. So now all of a sudden we're all moving, and we're all 10 meters apart from each other. Does that make sense? All right, 1 moving.
Four moving.
All right, so we're all now moving in a column formation, okay? And as you can see, 4, you can see I'm pretty far away, right? I mean, I'm like, you probably can't even see me. I'm so far.
Right.
Right, because I'm like in the front of the formation, which is probably 50 meters ahead of you. So, so that's how it should look. Everyone shouldn't be bunched up. All right, but you should be able to see 3. All right, does that make sense?
Right.
Okay. All right, so that's it. So I'm gonna stop. 1 stopping, and then everyone. Once you guys start working with each other, you don't have to obviously keep saying stopping and stuff, but a lot of times if you're trying to understand what's happening with the team, and you want to make sure people understand what you're doing, over communication is key. All right, so let's talk about fields of fire. All right, in a column formation, the easiest thing to remember, and what you'll see in this document that I wrote, this Foundation of Small Unit Tactics, what you're going to find is I made it very simple and easy to remember where your field of fire is by referencing where you are in the formation. Are you number 1? Are you number 2? Are you number 3? Are you number 4? Okay, so number 1 and number 4 is pretty easy, right? Number 1, their field of fire is going to be like basically 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, call it. Okay, that's pretty easy to remember. And 4 is pretty easy to remember because you're going to be the complete inverse of that, right? You're going to be like, 4 or 5 o'clock to like 7 or 8 o'clock, something like that, okay? Usually the confusion is between 2nd and 3rd position. So what I like to do is always make number 3 watching 3 o'clock, right? Because then everyone knows what everyone's doing. Because number 2 knows he's not watching 3 o'clock because he's not number 3. 3 is watching 3 o'clock because he's number 3. Easy to remember. Does that make sense? So number 2, you're going to be obviously 9 o'clock, right? So you're going to be somewhere like, 8 till 10, 7 till 11, something like that, okay? And then 3, you're going to be the opposite of that, okay? You're going to be like 2 to 4, 2 to 5, something like that. Okay. So the biggest thing with this milsim and other milsims is field of fire discipline. What that means is you're going to only be watching your field of fire. Okay? You're not watching mine. You're not watching your buddies. You're not doing anything but watching your field of fire. Now, for number 4 in the rear security, obviously you're not going to be walking backwards the whole time. So it's a little different for you. Okay? There's exceptions to every rule. But in general, you're going to be reporting on and observing things in your own field of fire. So when we're moving, and if I hear something at the 3 o'clock position, okay, in most milsims, what happens? Everyone's like, oh, I hear someone 3 o'clock. Everyone's looking over at 3 o'clock. Everyone's talking about 3 o'clock, okay? But then what happens if everybody's looking at 3 o'clock? big problems. That's right. Big problems happen. So what's going to happen is if I'm walking, just pretend we're walking. If I'm walking and I hear something at 3 o'clock, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I hear voices at 3 o'clock. Okay? And that's going to prompt number 3 to go check it out if he hasn't heard it yet. He's going to say, hey, firm, you know, you guys can, you know, I'm not very big on like very strict lingo because every team works differently. But the idea is number 3 is going to respond, okay? And he's going to say, hey, firm, I see, you know, 3, that's right. That's right. So he's going to respond with, I don't see shit, or yeah, I got eyes on, or whatever, okay? He's going to respond so the whole team knows what's happening. And his response is ideally going to contain 3 things. It's going to contain the distance. It's going to contain the direction, right? I mean, that's fairly obvious, but direction, what I like to do is like, where are they moving? Are they moving away from us? Are they moving toward us, right? Because we're all worried about danger, right? So direction and then description. How many? You know, can he see how many? Can he see if there's a juggernaut? Can he see if there's a rocket launcher? Can he see if there's a vehicle? You know, things like that, right? Distance, direction, description. 3 Ds. That's ideal. If you don't know all 3, that's fine. No big deal. Just say, hey, about 75 meters, you know, unknown number of tangos, and, you know, and I don't know which direction they're moving or whatever, okay? Now, if you see that they're a threat, right, like they're coming right up at us, like they're running towards us or something, then obviously include that in the description. They're running towards us. They're about to engage us. Or there's no threat, they're moving away. You know, what do you want to do, team leader? Should we engage him if he's not the team leader? Things like that. Does that make sense? So the most important thing that I want to convey in this particular training block is that if you hear something that is not in your field of fire discipline, do not all of a sudden turn and look for it and then start talking about it. Continue looking at your field of fire, okay? And then just report it and say, hey, I hear voices to the back of us, I think. And then that means number 4 is going to check it out. He's going to say, no, I don't see anything. You're hearing things, you know, or he's going to say, yeah, you know, I got 4 tangos. They're moving away from us, no threat. Or he'll say, I got 4 tangos. They're moving toward us, you know. Team lead, what do you want to do? Or LT, what do you want to do? Or whatever you're calling your team leader, okay? So let's continue our patrol. 1 moving. All right, 2, as soon as you start moving, call it out.
Oh, give me a second, please.
Okay. I'm about to walk off a cliff. This is probably not a right direction to go. All right, so okay, so now we're gonna talk about engaging the enemy. All right, so let's move over here so we can have just a little bit of let me just see where we're at on this map. Okay, yeah. So let's move over here a little bit.
No eyes on the good guys.
All right,
I'm at the edge of the cliff. Negative.
hold on, where's he at? Here, go left. Okay, now walk straight. There he's at. Yeah, there you go. Keep coming. There you go. Keep coming. You can turn on your friendly tags if you want. It might be easier during instruction.
Oh no, I had turned my head in there while I was trying to pretend like I wouldn't do it.
Oh, got it. Okay, so now let's all get in a column formation and let's pretend we're approaching this MSR that's like right up here. All right. So I'm gonna 1's moving. Okay. Okay, so now one stopping.
Please don't cuss me out. Let me get this stuff going in our house, and then I could try to jump back on, or if you do
Yeah,
it later, BCT, I could get on with you.
yeah, it's all good, man. Take care of your stuff.
Cool. My bad, bro.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pretend that we're getting engaged from right here. Okay, see where I'm shooting? Straight ahead, 12 o'clock. Okay, we're gonna pretend that we're getting engaged from head on. Now, when that happens, okay, what we're gonna do is we're obviously, gonna get cover, right? So how we're gonna do this is to make sure that it's not like, a big clusterfuck, right? What we're gonna do is we're gonna make it so that whenever we get engaged, we have a general idea of where everyone's going, okay? Just because of this foundational rule. So the rule is you're gonna move to the closest cover that's in your field of fire, okay? So for me, for example, my closest cover is going to be right here. Boom, right? Pow. So now I'm engaging, okay? Now, number two, since you're obviously watching 9 o'clock, you're probably going to post up over here. Boom, right by this tree. See what I'm saying? And you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to post up over here. And then number three, yeah, you're probably not going to want to stop here. You're probably going to want to go a little bit further, and you're going to be over here. All right. Okay, so let's all get in our little positions here, and then we'll practice that. Okay. All right. So I'm in. Is everybody in position? All right. Perfect. Okay, we're getting engaged. Let's move to cover, and then just point your weapons. All right. Okay, now do you kind of see how we're spread out? All right. I'm in the front, or I'm straight on. Number 2 is the 9 o'clock position. Number 3 is in the 3 o'clock position. Okay, so I kind of have an idea of, in general, where you guys should be. Like number 2 is going to be somewhere over there, and number 3 is going to be somewhere over there. And then once you guys start engaging, if we haven't engaged yet, right? Say for example we spotted them and they haven't fired on us yet. I'm going to know about where you are, okay? So that's the reason why when we split up, then you want to move to cover, the nearest cover that is in your field of fire. And the reason why you want to do that is because if I'm the enemy and I'm up here, all right, if I'm up here and I'm shooting down at you guys, okay, and you're all bunched up in the rock, then everybody that's in my enemy force, all we have to do is triangulate all of our fire onto one target, and we're going to get decimated, okay? But if we can split up where they're firing from over here, and then also we got other enemies that have to fire you over here, and we got more enemies that have to fire you over here, we're now splitting up their enemy firepower into 3 different areas, which diminishes the lethality of their firepower. Does that make sense? All right. So whenever you're engaging an enemy, you want to make sure that you split up, and you want to make it so that they have to aim at different areas, so that they don't have 7 guns on one target. They got 7 guns on 3 targets. All right. So now, if, for example, we're getting, it's an ambush. Let's just say it's an ambush, right? And everybody is now in their positions, and we're all firing back. Okay. Now, if we need to get out and we want to break contact, for example, okay. I don't know if you guys do rock climbing at all, but in rock climbing, there's a rule, a fundamental rule, that you should only be moving one limb at a time, right? I mean, there's exceptions to every rule, but you want to move one limb at a time. And so we all have 4 limbs, 2 legs and 2 arms. You want to be moving 1 arm or 1 leg at a time, because it's the safest, okay? Same thing goes for when we're breaking contact. Ideally, you want to move 1 operator at a time. Obviously, we're down to 3 people, so it's not a big deal. But say, for example, the team lead says, break contact or break left, okay? What that's going to mean is we're all going to be moving towards Godzilla, okay? We're going to be somewhere around here. We're going to be, trying to get the hell out of Dodge because it's an overwhelming force and we want to break contact. We're not going to push this. So if that's the case, the first person that's going to move is the person that's the furthest away from where we're moving. Does that make sense? So if the team lead says break left, we all know that it's going to be Apollo who's going to be moving first. Now, since we all know Apollo's moving first, what we have to do is we have to lay down cover fire for Apollo while he moves. And the way you lay down cover fire is you don't want to sit here and then just lay on your trigger, okay? You don't want to do that because you're going to run out of ammo real quick and he's still going to be freaking running for his life to get the cover. You want to keep these guys heads down for as long as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep these guys heads down, but we're going to do a tactic that's, called talking guns. It's basically like when you're in a conversation with someone, everyone doesn't talk at once, right? One person talks and the other person talks and like another person talks, right? So we're going to do the same thing with our weapons. So I'm going to shoot like 4 or 5 bursts, okay? Okay, and then as soon as that's done, then Godzilla knows up. He shot 4 or 5. Now it's my turn to talk, right? So he's going to shoot 4 or 5, and I'm going to shoot 4 or 5, and you're going to shoot 4 or 5, and I'm going to shoot 4 or 5, and you're going to shoot 4 or 5. Yep, exactly. All right. So that's the idea. Okay. You want to keep their heads down with constant a barrage of bullets, but you don't want to do it so much so that both of us run out of ammo at the same time and all of a sudden, he's caught with his pants down trying to get cover. All right. Now, when Apollo's done, he's going to say 3 set. All right. So as soon as he says 3 set, we all know who's moving next, and it's the person furthest away, and that's going to be me. So you guys start laying down cover fire, and I'm going to move. 1 moving. I'm going to obviously move behind your guys. All right, and I'm going to post up. All right, 1 set. All right, so 2, you got to start moving. All right, so that's how you do it, and you just kind of repeat until you break contact. All right. So the thing to remember, Godzilla, is you need to remember who's to the right of you. And as soon as you're last man, and if you're breaking left and you're the last man, that means you're moving, okay? And you're going to move past everybody, to the next cover point. Typically 10, 20 meters past, the last guy. You're going to post up. You're going to return fire. This terrain's a little wonky, right? And you're not going to really be able to see anybody, but that's okay for training purposes. But ideally, you want to get in a position where you can cover fire while people continue to move and break contact. All right. So that's the basics of fire and maneuver. And the thing to remember is that if anybody, because you're always going to have the fog of war, right? People are going to be like a little confused. They're not going to know if someone moved. They're not going to know where they are. Just over communicate. Okay. If you see that there's a little bit of confusion going on, which there will be, you want to just over communicate. Say, hey, 1 and 2 are set. 3, it's your turn to move. And then 3 is going to, he'll respond, say, okay, great, 3 moving. Something like that. All right? Now, again, remember, guys, this is like basic combat training. So this is very, basic. We're not going to go into a lot of exceptions and things like that. We can do that at in a later course. But this is just to kind of give you the very basics of sort of how to work as a team, how to communicate as a team, how to move as a team, all right? So we talked about patrol formation. We talked about field of fire discipline. We talked about what your fields of fire should be. We talked about, engaging the enemy and how to do that, why you should split up when you're getting engaged, how to break contact. You do the same thing if you're going to push. If you're going to push, then that's fine. Push left, push right, push forward, whatever the team leader says. And remember, usually what happens in a lot of these mill sims that maybe you've played on is when people start getting fired upon, it's just all hell breaks loose and everyone does whatever the fuck they want, right? But you got to kind of fight that urge, okay? Until it becomes second nature. And you got to say, okay, you know, TL, what are we doing? LT, like whatever you're calling your team leader, what are we doing? What's the move? And he's going to make the call, okay? You don't want to just all of a sudden start pushing or flanking left or flanking right without anyone coordinating it, because one, we're not going to know what you're doing. We're not going to know how to coordinate it, and the lethality of a small unit is the violence of action, but also the coordination of that violence. If you're not working in a coordinated fashion, then you know, one person moves on their own. It's very easy to pick off a single operator if they don't have support. So that's the whole reason why you know, this stuff is important. All right, so there's a road up here. So let's just talk. We'll just cover kind of crossing the roads. Godzilla, I think you went through this yesterday, potentially, right? All right, cool. Let me just see where this road's at. Oh yeah, it's straight up here. All right, so let's just go and. Oh right. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Let's just roll with it and see, you know, see how you guys do. We'll just stay in the 1, 2, and 3 positions that we had, since, you know, 4 left. That's fine. We don't have to change positions. We'll just work without them. So I'm gonna move out. We'll move in a column formation, and then when we get to this road, we'll just take it. All right, one moving. Yeah, well, just the direction I'm moving. Yeah. I got an enemy vehicle, 12 o'clock, just past us. All right, I got an MSR, 1 set. One moving. 1 set. All right, 1 moving. 1 set. All right. Okay, so that's pretty good, guys. So we're going to have some vehicular traffic here, so we'll probably get engaged. But let's just go up here. Let's just go up here and do a quick review of what we just did. So the key to this is, you know, wherever I'm pointing, wherever point man's pointing, right? Everyone follows. So since I'm pointing left, you guys did it right. You did it correctly. You know, number 2 guy came up and he posted and he started looking to the right. Okay, and he posted up over here, I believe. I couldn't see because my back was turned, but I think he posted up somewhere over here, which was perfect. Okay, and then number 3, what you're going to do as soon as 1 and 2 are posted up, when you say 3 moving, what you're going to do is you're going to cross. You're going to cross, right? Boom. And then you're going to post up. Okay? And then you're going to say 3 set. So that means 1 and 2 now knows that you're across the street when you say 3 set, because both of us are watching the close side. Now you're watching the far side, okay? And we should be moving 1 at a time, okay? So ideally, if I'm 3 and I'm posted up, okay, and you guys see that I'm posted up looking this way, then the next person that should move is the person that's watching. Here comes a vehicle. Here comes a vehicle right now. Well, he's gonna see us, but let's just see what happens. Go prone, see if he passes. Got another one. All right, cool. All right, so the idea is, if I'm posted and I'm looking this way, then the next person that should cross is the person that's posted up but looking the other way, right? So it's going to be the guy that's over here. He's going to be the next guy moving, because he's looking over here. He's going to switch, and boom, he's going to take the other side. All right, because right now we got 3 people, right? So if 1 and 2 are watching, okay, and then 3 comes through, 3 is going to come through. Say he chooses here. All right, that means that 1 is not going to move, because 1 is watching the same way he's watching. So 2 is going to go ahead and move, and he's going to be posted up, and he's going to be watching down the other side of the street. Now, there's exceptions to every rule, okay, obviously, but the idea that the main idea is you want to make sure that everybody knows what everyone else is doing, and you don't want to just move without communicating. You see what I'm saying? And if you don't know if one person is looking one way or the other way, or just check real quick. Right? Oh, he's looking that way. Okay, so I'm gonna post up and look this way, because eventually what'll happen is you guys work it as a team. Everyone is just gonna do it instinctually, and you're gonna roll through this MSR super quick. Okay, so that's step 1 of crossing. Now, step 2 of crossing is when 3 and 4 cross. Imagine there's 3 and 4. They're not going to post up right at the street, right? Because we're watching it. You don't have to double up on security. You're going to go past us 10, 20 meters, till you find some cover, right? And then you're gonna set up a little bit deeper, and then you're going to say set. And then the guys that are right on the street, right on the MSR, you're going to be moving. As soon as we're set, you're going to get up, and you're going to go past us another 10 or 20 meters. Okay, so now you're just moving deeper in. Does that make sense? So the thing about moving past this is you want to do it quick, right? Because as you saw, we were lollygagging around. We had 2 vehicles cross us, right? So you want to do it quick, and that's going to come with time. As soon as you start working with your teams, you're going to cross 3 or 4, and then everyone's just going to know how to do it, and you're just going to figure it out. And then once you move twice and you're 20, 30 meters into the woods, then you can rally up on the team lead, figure out where we're going, what are we doing next. There's a big freaking cliff here, so obviously we're not going to go this way. TL is going to figure out what they're doing, and then point man's going to move out, and you're going to continue your patrol. All right. So that's basically the main gist of BCT. Patrol formation, field of fire, enemy engagement, fire maneuver. I'll just talk quickly about the strong side. Like why you would want to do strong side wedge. So if you're, say for example, we're in a column and we're moving this way, all right? And I know as a team lead that there's a road on the right, okay, to us, and I know that there's a cliff on the left. So what do you think the most dangerous part of this patrol is going to be? It's probably going to be on my right, yeah? So if I think most danger is going to be on the right, I'm going to have a right side V, right? I'm going to have a strong side V on the right, so that I got, effectively an extra guy on the right-hand side, because that's where I want most of my firepower, because that's where I think most risk is going to come from. The weak side is going to be on my left. There's only going to be one guy on that side, because that's a cliff. and typically, you know, there's not much danger on a cliff except falling off it. So that's basically why you would have left or right side, you know, V as you're going down, as you're patrolling. If you're going to switch formations, all right. If you're walking parallel to a road, I typically don't do column formations along a road, because if you can just imagine, if you're in a car and you're driving down a road and you are looking on the left and the right, you're gonna visibly see a column formation easier than you would a wedge formation, right? Just because the wedge formation, the point man is much deeper in, and so he's going to be harder to see, and it's also at an angle, right? The strong side is a little bit at an angle, so it's, you know, you're just a little bit more camouflaged. So that's typically when I'm doing something, if it's a road, if it's a base, if it's a patrol, if there's any danger, I usually switch from a column to a wedge, so that you know, it's just a little bit harder to spot. Now, obviously this is a game, you know, and the AI is a little bit janky, so they usually don't spot you anyway. but you know, but you know, we're trying to mimic, you know, in real life as much as possible. So that's why you do, you know, wedge formation on the right or wedge formation on the left. Okay. Now, if you're patrolling, we can talk about, we've got a little bit of time. If we're going to patrol on a road, say for example, you're going to be following an MSR to your destination. Okay. You'd split the team up. So if we had 4 people, there'd be 2 on the left and 2 on the right. So like I'd be over here. If this is our path of movement, I'd be on this side. Okay. Number 2, you'd be behind me. Number 3, you'd be basically parallel to me, maybe a little bit back. And then number 4, you know, he'd be behind you. Oh, look at this. Let's engage him. Yeah. All right. Oh, he's dead. Okay. So basically you're going to be, you know, you're not going to be walking right up on it. You'll probably be like 10 meters in or so. And then you'll basically just be moving, patrolling. And then 3 and 4, you're going to be on the opposite side. Now, the thing to remember is if this vehicle were to come on us, the last thing you want to do is engage it. The kill zone for this vehicle is not right here. Okay? And the reason why is because that's major crossfire, right? The kill zone for the vehicle is either going to be once it passes us, which is ideally the best kill zone because they're not facing us, or it's going to be behind us if they see us first before we see them. But you don't want the kill zone to be in the middle of your formation because, you know, that's a bad day. All right? Okay, and then let's see. The other thing, let me just see if we can, if you want, we can just go through some quick CQB. How much time you got? $10 minutes? Okay. All right. So let's see. Is there? Let's see if we can move. Let's move to this location. I just made it A. See if we can move there. Where the hell is it? Where is A on my? Do you guys see A? Where the hell is it? Oh, there it is. Oh yeah. Let's go over there. I think there's a structure over there. Might be a big cliff too. We'll just like sprint over there and not worry about formations. I want to make sure this guy's got a little bit of time once we get there. So just like haul ass over there. Oh, stupid trees. Yeah. No, we got some enemies. you have more. I don't know where they went. Oh, this is not a structure. No, that's alright. We can just loot it. Southwest? You got eyes on or no? Alright, I thought this was a structure, but it's not. I wanna go loot these guys. Oh yeah, there's somebody, oh yeah, on the west. I'm taking fire, engaging. Yeah, they're coming. They're coming. They're coming for us. Let's move up northwest, up the hill, in the trees. I got voices northwest. They're coming down. And to the east, I got voices. I got no eyes on.
Go fix that tire.
Someone around here, and I'm gonna find them.
Alright. Alright, good job. Alright, man, I gotta hop off now. Good job. If you guys got questions, just ping me on Discord. Alright.